Hello sword fighters. Let's do a little bit of a workout that'll take you from a warm-up all the way to some basic mechanical exercises that you can do with a cutting or thrusting sword, specifically single-handed. So let's put the sword down for the time being and let's start with a warm-up. So what I want to do is I'm going to base this on exercise by Maya Soderholm. It's called the pendulum exercise. There's going to be a few modifications so that we fit within the sword fighting and specifically the Academy Duello curriculum a little bit better. But ultimately it's based on the pendulum. So I'll position myself here so that you can see my feet a little bit better. We're going to start with a weight on your back leg. The idea of the pendulum is it's a four-stage step where I'm transferring my weight to my front leg, bringing my feet together, extending my foot forward, and transferring my weight to the front leg. Then I do the same thing back. There's step 1, 2, reach back with your foot, transfer for 4. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see how there's a swing, a pendulum swing coming from this. So I'm doing this starting with my right leg forward, ending with my left leg back. And if you were to have a weapon, you can imagine this is you starting with your weapon on your left hand. I'm extending it forward to strike and bringing it back. Extending it forward, bringing it back. If you are a rapier fighter, specifically for a blue cord, you can imagine this as refused. I'm refused, extend, transfer, extend. Leading with a weapon, as we often do with a sword, making sure that the weapon is going forward. As you get comfortable with this, keep on transferring the weight forward. You can slow it down as you do the transfer. Slow, 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 slow. Bringing your feet together. Extend and step. Same idea, stepping backwards. You can speed it up as well. Let's try the same thing with the left leg starting, right foot back. Start transferring the weight, extending, step. Go at a comfortable speed that you don't feel you're going to fall over, but you can do it smoothly. And then start adding a little bit of speed. Now slow down. And speed up again. So, a few variations we'll add to that. I'll do it towards the camera. Starting with my left leg forward. I'm gonna have the stick here just to illustrate my motion. When I was stepping, I was transferring and letting my hips turn. You can see how my hips are rotating as I do the step. We can do the same action without letting the hips rotate, keeping your feet and your chest in alignment with what we do. A rapier, passing step, or passata. I do it from the side so that you can see my feet a little bit better. I'm transferring my weight forward, I'm bringing my feet together, and I'm keeping, you can see here, my heel and my toe pointed perpendicular to the motion that I'm going to support the alignment of my knee. This supports my leg and allows me to extend whichever arm moves forward, continue to extend it forward. So I'll have my weapon analog here. I'm extending the weapon forward, and it's just a passing step where I'm keeping my forward shoulder forward. So I can go back to the pendulum where I am not rotating my hips. And I can go back to the pendulum where I am rotating my hips. switch to the other side. Start with actually I'll keep on staying on this side. Start with your right leg forward. I am stepping without rotating. Extend. Doesn't have to follow any particular martial form right now. This is mostly a warm-up. Just transfer, step, transfer, step, transfer, step, transfer, step. Now go back to doing it with a hip rotation, without the hip rotation. With the hip rotation, and without. With, without, with, and without. Beautiful. That is going to be the baseline for our exercises. In a more traditional rapier fashion, you could do so as an alternative where, say, I am in a rapier or side sword guard, I could transfer the weight, gather, and step forward. In this case, it would be a lunge or similar action. Step back, gather, strike, recover, strike, recover, strike, recover, strike, recover. You go to the other side, you're gathering forward, striking with your left leg, recover, strike, recover, strike, recover, strike, recover, strike. We're going to focus on the variation of the pass first because the mechanic is interesting. If you have space constraints, you might not be able to do the pass, so you have the gathering variation as well. If space is ultimately super constrained, this is the same idea. The weight transfer gives you enough to play with. So, if you have a stick, you're welcome to use a stick as a practice weapon. I can show you what we're going to do with a sword. We're going to be cutting with a sword. So, again, space variation. If you have a stick, a weapon, anything that works. Lengthwise, you want something a little bit longer, up until about sword size, just to give you the play of inertia that the long weapon gives you. If you don't have something like that, you can still practice just the mechanics of the wrist. So let's start with a warm-up. I'm going to start with my left hand. I always encourage that. Start with your non-dominant hand, give it a little bit more of a workout so that when it gets tired, then you can switch to the opposite hand. Otherwise, it doesn't get as much work as you would otherwise. Starting with the weapon in front of me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the sword palm down. I'm going to let the point drop, and I'm essentially going to come into prima or alla corna if you're doing side sword guard. And from here, I'm going to bring the sword all the way back and come back with a cut on the same line that I was in, a stramazzone. Drop the point, bring the sword back, and strike. And I'm doing this, letting the point of the sword and the blade of the sword come all the way back behind my body before it goes forward. My hand stays mostly in front as I deliver the strike. So part of what I'm being mindful here, and because of how tall I am and how short my roof is, I can hit my ceiling, so I'm being mindful that once I bring the sword here, I don't keep my sword elevated, otherwise I'll hit the ceiling. I bring my hand down, I let the point slap forward so that I'm delivering my blow there. Switch hands to practice the other side. We're going to do this 10 times. Drop the point, come into prima or alla corna, bring the arm back, and strike forward. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Let's go back to the left hand. So the same action now, but instead of rotating, bringing the sword all the way back, the sword is going to be at the front. So I'm going to keep my elbow. You can even hold the elbow forward. I'm going to bend just my elbow and bring the sword forward. So instead of doing a rotation around essentially shoulder, we're now doing a rotation around the elbow. The cut is smaller. The mechanic is the same as drop the point all the way to prima, bring the sword back, but now it's staying in front of your body the entire time, and then cut forward. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch hands to the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cuts. Some of you might ask, what sort of cut are you doing? I'm just bringing the sword straight down in a fendente. On top of someone's head, no angle for the time being. Warm up more than anything else. Switch to the left hand, wrist cuts. Arm is mostly going to stay static. I'm going to drop the point, bring the point back, strike with a full-on wrist stramazzone. I am rotating the sword entirely by my wrist. Your arm is able to move depending on how heavy your sword is and how mobile your arm, how flexible your arm is. You might need to move a little bit more or less. The goal is to stay supported, not lock any of the joints, and still be able to deliver this rotational blow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. That's the stramazzone preparation on the inside of your body. On the outside, it's slightly different. Turn the sword palm up. At this point, I'm going to release my grip, relax my grip so that the point can drop. I can't really turn my hand more than that. And I can bring the sword back, keeping my elbow in front of my face, making sure that it's not buckling. I'm not looking over my bicep. I'm looking inside of my forearm. Once the sword is behind me, I can bring the sword back to strike. So the preparation brings the sword back and strike. One thing you can work on as well is making sure that the point stays close to your body. It's easy to keep it a little bit more rigid where the point travels off to the side. In terms of momentum and alacrity in your action, you want to let it drop further down so that it actually gathers a little bit of speed as it comes down. I have control of the sword throughout the entire action, so I'm not letting go entirely. My pinky's engaged throughout this action so that I can, once the sword is over here, bring the sword back forward. There'll be a tutorial video. You'll be able to find it on the rest of the channel where I'll talk more about the mechanics of the stramazzone. Right now, this is an exercise. We won't focus too much on that. Sword on the left hand, we'll do it 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch to the left. Elbow preparation. Whereas before, I was bringing the sword mostly behind my shoulder specifically. Now I'm going to keep it in front of my elbow. It works almost the same way. On the outside, the preparations are typically going to look a lot alike. So it's now just about the size of the arc and making sure that it doesn't travel all the way behind me. It stays mostly in front of my body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. My offhand, good time to talk about it. It's not doing anything particular. It can rest behind you. I'm just putting it in for my chest so that I know where it is. You can have it anywhere you find useful. Just make sure not to strike it as you do your preparations. Back to the left hand, wrist preparation. On the outside, you must move your elbow, otherwise it doesn't really work. If I look at the camera, this is not really the same sort of wrist preparation, although it is valid, it is not the same as doing that. So, there's a little bit of a bend on the elbow. It's almost exactly the same as the elbow preparation, but you can think about it as trying to do it as slightly more smaller arc. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One of the more avid observers will see my arms behave differently. My preparation of the right arm is actually much smaller than when I make my preparation on my left arm. Part of it has to do with my arm is stronger. It is able to support the weight of the sword and the mechanic a little bit more easily than with my left. That'll be true for most people. Don't panic, don't despair if that is not exactly how it's looking for either one of your arms. It's a lot about building strength, and just practicing doing this tramazzone will help a lot. So now that we are warm up, we know what our legs are doing, we know functionally what our swords are doing. Let's do the exercise. I'm going to start left-handed. What it's going to look like is I'm going to deliver a cut, I'm going to deliver a thrust, and I'm going to use the cut to recover. So in terms of context, there's no other person here to sword fight me, so you can imagine what your opponent is doing. This is a mechanical exercise, not a tactical exercise. You can't go into a fight thinking, this is what I'm going to do, because your opponent might do something different. But it is a useful tool to develop the body motion required to execute these actions in combat. So, I'm going to start in my rapier guard. I'm going to deliver a passing lunge. So, I'm going to deliver my passing lunge. It's a pendulum exercise with a step forward. I'm striking in quarta, palm up. Because I'm striking palm up, I'm going to drop the sword, prepare it to the outside, and come back with a cut to my outside. Now I'm back towards where I started. I'm going to start shifting my weight forward. Now I'm going to strike in seconda. As I pass, I drop the point to the inside because I was in seconda. I can go to prima, do the preparation to the inside, and cut back to the inside. Now do the same thing on the other side. I'm striking in quarta, yielding to the outside, recover. Striking in seconda, yielding to the inside, and strike. Quarta, yield, strike. Seconda, yield, strike. So think about it as you failed to thrust someone, parried it, you need to use a cut to keep yourself safe. So let's try that out. We're going to do 10 sequences of this, so 20 lunges altogether. Starting with me, I'll call out seconda. We'll start always quarta, then seconda. Okay? Quarta, yield, recover, seconda, yield, recover. That was 1. Quarta, seconda. 2. Quarta, seconda. 3. Quarta, seconda. Quarta, that was 4. Seconda. 5. Quarta. Seconda. 6. Quarta. Seconda. 7. Quarta. Seconda. 8. Quarta. Seconda. 9. Quarta. Seconda. 10. Quarta. Seconda. And relax. Switch sides. Whoop. Be in the frame. Let's do the same thing. Pass. I change the timing a little bit as I was doing this. Really think about finish the pass, use the cut to recover. Okay? I'll start counting right away so that I don't lose track of the numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Apologies for the counting. Take a quick break. Roll your shoulders back. Make sure that your legs are still moving. Make sure that you're shaking everything around. Let's do one final exercise. We're going to change the motivation here. So instead of doing the cut as a recovery, I'm going to do the cut as an attack. I can begin my action. It can begin with a thrust. We're going to start with a thrust in quarta. I'm going to stay in the, because I don't have a lot of space, I'm going to do this with a lunge. I'm going to begin a thrust, just gaining the action, begin the preparation, and as I cut, I'm going to lunge. And I'm going to recover, do the same thing in seconda, yield to the inside, cut to the outside, recover. So as we did in the last one, I'm going to count 20 lunges. All the odd numbers are going to be done in quarta. Even numbers are going to be done in seconda. All right, get ready. Starting in quarta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Switch hands, same idea. Starting terza, thrusting quarta. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Well done. That's a lot of lunging, a lot of moving your arms and your legs. Here's the thing that I can challenge you for further practice if you want to continue working out. Think about the stepping that you can deliver. You can deliver this with a thrust followed by a cut. Imagining the cut is the end of the step. Or a thrust that ends followed by a cut, as we did in the first exercise. The footwork doesn't really change which action you do. You can really just practice which one you want to practice. Different type variations of footwork. You can gather, step. You can advance, lunge, or really any combination that you can think thereof. So as homework, pick up some type of footwork that you want to practice. Gather, step, pass, everything static, all lunges, all advances, and incorporate a thrust that completes, then a recovery with a cut, or a thrust that initiates, and a conclusion with a cut. hopefully that was useful for you. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to me or any other instructors at Academy Duelo, and we will be able to give you some more feedback. Thank you very much. See you guys later.